I started this series with the idea that there are some people who do not want to have conversations anymore. The big question is what do we do with disagreements? Proverbs 13:10 says, "Pride only breeds quarrels, but wisdom is found in those who take advice." I've been listening to some online debates very recently about some really important issues that Christians have differing views on. For instance, cessation versus continuation between Douglas Wilson and Mark Driscoll. Calvinism versus Arminianism with Dr. Michael Brown versus Douglas Wilson. Word and Deed, this was an interesting one where Andy Stanley and Jeff Durbin were discussing whether Christians should quote the Bible or just talk about the characters and the actions that people in the Bible did. We have the opportunities these days with technology to be able to listen to people who best represent each of the sides of any issue. In all these debates that I've seen, all the people who are engaged in conversation have done so with the utmost spirit of Christ. These issues are where agreement is nowhere close, and yet both of them are presenting biblical arguments, and the debaters are confirmed in their legitimate ministries. The body of Christ, those of us in the faith believe that we as people in the church compose the body of Christ in some kind of a mystical, metaphorical, yet real way. The body of Christ is a real thing, and we can relate to this on a personal level that we have a body and we have that spiritual wrestling that we do, like Romans 7 and Romans 8. We have this body and we have contradicting thoughts like Romans 7 presents, but then we have the Spirit of Christ that we read about in Romans chapter 8. But I think we are being tested as the body of Christ as to how we respond and react to each other when we disagree. So when we have a debate, we are being tested on how we should treat each other and how we are to communicate and respond. We are tested by God. We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Romans 5, 3 and 4. James 1 and 2. Count it all joy, my brothers, whenever you meet trials of various kinds. 1 Peter 1, 7. So that the tested genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Testing tells us where we are. Have you ever applied this to your relationship with others in the body of Christ? I would say that the most important question that we must settle in our hearts is this person part of the body of Christ? And that is the foremost question rather than the topic that we are debating. I don't know what filters can be made to ensure that we practice this, because in some of those that I watched, the filter had already been applied and they were acting from the conclusion that wherever we fall on this question, you're my brother because of Christ. And this doesn't mean that we're not standing up for what we believe to be true. And this doesn't mean that someone is right and someone is wrong, because you may both be right or you both could be wrong. But the body is a place of testing, and it is important how we come through the test. God is testing the body members. And remember that He is the ultimate judge. And it is better to keep the conversation open than to rally only with whom we agree with.